Saskatoon's TCU Place continues to shine in our city. It's been busier than ever. We have the CEO, Tammy Sweeney, with us. Thanks for coming to the studio today.
Thank you, Randy. I'm happy to be here.
I don't know that it's just me, but it does generally seem that TCU Place was busy, but it's been busier. What's been happening there lately?
We've had our best year ever in 25. We had more events than ever before. We had some pretty high caliber events like the First Ministers Conference and another conference that brought together politicians from Midwestern US and Canada. More shows in our theater. Our theater business has tripled in the past couple of years. More community events. Our team is outstanding. Like, we've got about a 90% retention rate. And in this market in hospitality, that's unheard of. So people are enjoying working there. Our clients are loving it. Our client retention is good. Revenues are strong. It's just everything we've been working on the past 4 years and rebuilding post-pandemic is starting to really just drive into place. So I'm thrilled with how we turned out in 25.
Let's look at some of the future, I guess. We always talk about if we were back in the 1960s and the train tracks were coming out and there was this massive investment into this Centennial Auditorium, and it would have been, I would imagine, a lot of investment by many players in that field on something that had never been done before in Saskatoon. What do you see with the convention world and TCU Place, and then maybe we'll branch out into the larger deed conversation then?
So I'm going to say the original Centennial Auditorium, this beloved building, people saw their first concert, meetings, community events, like it was just this really great building, and it was built far ahead of its time. So it's a 2,000 seat theater that hasn't changed in those 60 years or so. And what was the population of our city back then? It was maybe half of what it is today. And so the theater's right-sized today. It was more than right-sized 60 years ago. And yet the visionaries and leaders in our city invested time and money and effort to bring that, because building that downtown community area makes sense. It brings vitality to your downtown and it helps buildings around it and businesses around it to thrive. I look back at pictures from then and our downtown was thriving. And it's because of the investment that those players made in our downtown. So today we've got this, again, a kind of a nice building. I'm not going to say it's the most beautiful one out there. We love it and it looks good and we shine it up really nice. But we are falling behind in terms of what our counterparts are doing across the country. We're the last building to be renovated to the next level. And so when a client, like a big conference with 500, 600 people that want to stay in our city for 3 days and eat in our restaurants and stay in our hotels, if they have an option to go to a shiny new building in Halifax, for example, or Winnipeg, they're going to go there rather than here, unless we could do something to keep them coming here. So it is important that we keep making that investment in our downtown. TCU Place and venues like it are revenue generating engines for your city. They bring business and people into your city. And if we don't invest in them, that money is wasted, because it no longer draws people into your city.
I think that's a key point. If we look at a return on investment, if any level of government and private sponsorships do come to the table, what do I get if I spend this much? And it's different for infrastructure like a bridge or a road or a highway. But in some sense, the theater is a piece of infrastructure that generates income and stimulates activity.
Absolutely. It is, in some ways, it's just like a bridge. It is absolutely critical infrastructure in your city because it's something that drives people into your city. The difference is that by investing in that, you are getting a return on investment. So I know people don't always understand the true benefit of economic impact, but that's how this world is measured. And I can say a theater show or even a 3-day conference, if it comes into Saskatoon, and let's say that same 500-person conference, there's about $1 million of that floating around in the community of money that wouldn't always be here or wouldn't be here without that event. So by investing in infrastructure that actually brings more revenue into your city, you're helping to build and develop your city. And unlike a bridge, we need a bridge, we need parks, we need all of these things. But one actually pays revenue, and that helps to do some of those other infrastructure projects. So one can help offset and pay for the other.
And it contributes to a quality of life. I mean,
Absolutely.
we always hear about people going to other cities, and if only we did this or did that, we could have the same things. I find it interesting, though, on the conference end of things. I've been to a number myself over the years, but going to another city and contributing to that economy, exploring, people do that here. Whereas if we had one show, one event at SaskTel Center or at TCU Place, that's an event as opposed to 3 days of economic generating.
Your conferences, they don't have the same sexy appeal that a big concert does, right? It's not a Garth Brooks that just has this massive appeal, or a Jelly Roll, but it's that slow and steady presence. We have 400 events a year at TCU Place. That's 400 times a year these events are coming into our city. And if somebody's there for 3 days, generally a business traveler at a conference will spend about 4 times more than what an average casual traveler will spend when they are in a city, and even a concert goer. And I would say more than 60% of our guests are from out of our postal code. So that is a lot of money being infused into our community and helping every business around us and spending money when they're here. And you know, you've been to a conference, you enjoy taking advantage of things in that city while you're there. You want to see the museum, you want to see different restaurants or visit attractions, because it's part of the experience. And so that conference piece gets so overlooked so often, and it is the most important piece of any of the venues that are there, of any of the pieces of the venues.
I grew up with the Centennial Auditorium and now TCU Place. It just seems like a natural transition for something else to happen, and there's been talk of the Downtown Event and Entertainment District, or DEED, the potential for the arena, and now you've also done this type of work in other cities. This isn't foreign to you.
No, this has been my life for 20 years. So I was lucky enough to open a convention center in Niagara Falls. It was called the Scotiabank Convention Center. Now it's the Niagara Falls Convention Center. So I was part of the opening team for that. I was there pre-opening, hired the opening team, built all of the systems and processes in the organization, and it was really a dream job. It's just an amazing experience to open a venue. I've been part of merging 2 organizations together in the Niagara Falls Casino and Fallsview Casino Resort. So merging 2 different cultures, 2 different organizations is very different than starting something new, because you're trying to take the best of both. So I've done that. I've run an arena. So for a few years I was in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and I was running the arena with a WHL team, very similar to the Blades that we have here in Saskatoon. A little bit smaller of an arena, but all of the same things. You're dealing with food and beverage. You're dealing with that transition between a hockey game one night and a major concert the next night. And you're dealing with the flip of turning that arena into a concert venue, or turning that hockey rink into a concert venue. And then fortunate to come here, and so now I'm running a convention center and a performing arts center. So I really think having all of that experience helps me to see this through different lenses, right? I can look at it from what are the best things that these other organizations have done, and how can we learn from that here in Saskatoon? And how can we use that to help manage the new facilities as they emerge? And even if there's talks now of merging these 2 organizations together, having an understanding and solid, proven experience working in those different areas is just going to help us to merge, if that's where we end up going in a few months.
I like the fact that you bring a fresh set of eyes to the city and that experience. If we look at merging the 2 to have a convention center, the performing arts center, there's also the arena that I expect would be built in that area. What's your, I guess, perception of how that will unfold in terms of, we can do this here, and we have the people that are capable, and all with an eye to financially viable, because you've cranked out some very nice numbers this past couple of years, and that's important for a civic run facility, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's branch that out now. If we were to fast forward this 10 years as an example, we would probably have the convention center up and going, renovated and built. How do you see that working together with an arena component as well?
So I think having, I'm going to say, co-location of the arena, the convention center, and the performing arts center, that's 3 strong venues that just give the operators choices, gives the operators synergies, There might be one box office, for example, instead of two.
Yep.
So it allows you to find natural efficiencies where they come naturally. Your finance, for example, can help with all of those operations. You do need to fully commit to partnering and being that one organization, though, for it to smoothly flow. For example, if you've got guest services, and guest services might be ushers, they might be ticket takers, they might be coat check, but if they're working in an arena the one night and then over in the theater at TCU Place the next night, they have to have the same attention to detail and guest service standards and that sort of thing. So a strong leadership team leading that integration and the synergies is going to be really important. Typically, there's very different cultures at an arena and a convention center. There's different type of people that are attracted to working there, and there's just different experiences. But there has to be this overarching attention to leadership and culture that will help drive the success of all of those organizations. We want to maximize the utilization. That's what it's about. Let's book more events. Let's make sure those events keep coming back, and we service them well so people have a great experience. And if the organizations are merged, we're going to need a very strong leadership team to merge that. And if we're looking at everything we do now is going to come back to us in some way in 10 years. So if we are investing in the infrastructure, the people, the technology, all of those things to make the guest experience better, the employee experience better, then events keep coming back. And when those events are successful, more events come back. But if we start disrupting those organizations through this merger in a negative way, it will have potentially a negative experience on clients, on guests, and on future, unfortunately. So we have to be very careful with how we approach that.
I really admire the use of technology, and kudos to your sound crews and everybody.
They're so good.
In that field, because I've known that theater all my life, and I would say that walking into it sometimes with the technology and the changes in the visual aspect, you've got some pictures also that you've sent in, being there for that, it is wild to say that this is my city,
right,
and we can compete with the technology and the people. Now we are getting to be a little bit of a flyover city because of that lack of investment that I think we really need.
We do. I mean, we have incredibly strong people in these organizations, both the arena and TCU Place. I'll speak mostly to that because that's the one I run. Mm-hmm. I think we have the best theater, sound, and tech guys in the province that run in our building. They can make magic happen in this big box of a room on the convention side, and they turn it into this beautiful gala that looks different for every event that's there. So we have the talent. If we don't invest in these, if we don't continue to upgrade, we will become more of a flyover city. And so we need to make sure that we're investing in those facilities properly and that we are continuing to attract the events that we do. We do a lot with a little right now. So TCU Place, most people don't know this, but we get $500,000 a year funding from the city. That puts us at the second lowest in the country for purpose-driven convention centers. Not your private-run centers, but purpose-driven. Mm-hmm. And our revenues per person are one of the highest in the country. We generate $15 million in revenue a year, and so that $500,000 is a very small percentage, and it hasn't increased in over 30 years. No increases for economy, cost of living, nothing. And we're appreciative of what we've gotten, and we've done extremely well with what we've gotten. But that shows the strength of the leadership team that's currently in place in our building to be able to continue to run this as the buildings continue to evolve and develop.
I just admire yourself for coming to this city and showing what we can be and seeing that through your eyes. Congratulations on a successful year. Let's hope for another good one in 26.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll get you back for an update again.
I'm happy to come back.
Great. That's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guest, Chad Hilton from the Saskatchewan Pension Plan, and Tammy Sweeney from TCU Place in Saskatoon. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. We'll see you next time on Connect.